Hello there, friends, and welcome to episode 70 of That One Gaming Podcast. My name is Colin, but I'm otherwise known as Delicious Morsels, and here with me today is Lucas, aka Carn9. How are you today, Lucas?
Doing good. I haven't been swallowed up by Adobe yet.
That's good. Neither have I, thankfully. Knocking on wood. Anyway, we've also got Neal here, better known as VMK89. How is Neal doing today?
Pretty swell.
Very swell indeed. If you are new to this podcast, welcome. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, or one of the many other podcasting platforms out there, where the three of us get together every other week to talk about a variety of topics in the world of gaming. And this week, we are talking about video game mods. From simple texture swaps to adding entirely new maps and gameplay elements, modding has been a big part of gaming for a very long time and has helped to prolong the life of games through its thriving communities. But before we get into our main topic discussion, we'd like to talk about the games that we have been playing since the last episode. So Lucas, what have you been playing?
Well, I've been in kind of a Legend of Zelda mood lately. So last night I started a randomizer of Link to the Past.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's very topical for mods.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It hasn't been going particularly great.
Oof.
I did more or less like casual randomizers, so just like items and stuff, but I decided to check the randomize enemies option. So
oh no.
Yeah.
Is everything bees?
Luckily no, not everything is bees. But yeah, there's a lot of like dark world enemies showing up that are like one-shotting me basically.
Nice.
Yeah. Also at Neal's request, I'm playing as Lugia. Yeah. And then I also started to play through Ocarina of Time, chipping away at just because I'm overdue for playing through that game again. I try and do that like once every couple of years because Ocarina of Time might be my favorite N64 game. It's really good. Yeah, just trying to stick to sort of like the intended route because the last few times I've played through the game, I've kind of sequence broken it, or because I could. Although I did do the water temple immediately after the forest temple because that's actually just a thing you can do with the normal route for the game. The only requirements for getting through the water temple are having the iron boots and having the fairy bow from the forest temple. So if you've beaten the forest temple and if you've already done Ice Cavern, which there is no requirements besides being adult Link to get to the Ice Cavern, you can just do the water temple whenever after that. So I did that after the forest temple for fun. It's also very fun getting the Begoron sword immediately after turning adult Link because that makes a lot of things easier because you can... I mean, Begoron sword is stronger than the Master Sword, but requires real two hands. So, yeah. And there's this little nifty glitch called power crouch stabbing because crouch stabs where you like hold the shield button and then with the attack or press the attack button, Link will jab his sword out, and for some reason, it has this unique property of it maintains the damage value of the last sword slash you've used. So you can do really strong power crouch stabs with the Master Sword if you jump slash with the Begoron sword first. Similarly, like as Kid Link, if you jump slash with the Deku stick and then power crouch stab with the Kokiri sword, it will do damage equal to a Deku stick jump slash. Or weirdly enough, if you have the Megaton hammer from the Fire Temple, you can jump slash with that, and you can use that to break stones that the Megaton hammer can break typically by crouch stabbing with your sword.
Huh.
Yeah, it's kind of a silly trick. But yeah, the main use of that is like you can jump slash with the Bigoron sword and then defend yourself with the while shielding with the Master Sword and deal Bigoron swords worth of damage. Fun time. So yeah, that's what I've been up to lately.
Nice. What's Neal been playing?
Surprisingly, not much. Just the usual Minecraft and not really any other games besides that. However, I do have a new gaming PC that is mostly built.
Nice.
We did do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went over to Neal's place on Tuesday to help assemble that.
Yeah.
Cool.
For the most part, it worked
went
pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, it went good up to the graphics card, really.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep.
I'm still kind of bummed about it just because the fact that you got the GPU in the way that you did is really impressive, but
Yeah.
it was a crazy tight fit.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm sure an incredibly niche audience of this will probably know immediately what size the Cooler Master Max or Master Box Q500 is. Yeah, I somehow managed to fit the like massive ASRock Taichi RX 6800 XT into that with a Corsair RM 850 power supply, and they are basically touching, but there is still enough room to plug cables into.
Yeah.
Nice.
It is that tight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. And then when we got it running, it artifacted once.
Yep.
What was initially we thought was what was going on that wasn't just the GPU was faulty?
We're thinking that it was graphics drivers at first.
Yeah.
So yeah, we tried installing that, and I was on the performance mode BIOS because it's a dual BIOS graphics card, and it artifacted in the sort of way that it would where you're having memory instability, where you get like repeated patterns across tiles of the screen. So I switched to the quiet mode BIOS, and it seemed to be fine for the remainder of the night that I was installing stuff on it. And then it started artifacting again when Neal was installing stuff on it later.
Yeah, the next night.
Yeah.
I was doing Minecraft and it crashed after artifacting. And then I think I installed OBS and it did the same thing.
Yeah.
So
right now we're running on the integrated graphics of the CPU because AM5 Ryzen CPUs all have integrated graphics, which is great.
And it
because
just
Neal can still use their computer while we're waiting to resolve the graphics situation.
Yeah, so that's been super nice, and still runs Minecraft pretty decently, and way bigger than any laptop I've had. So that's nice. It's a 27-inch screen. That thing's working pretty well. It's got an analog stick on the back, which confused me.
Yeah, that's a nice monitor that you picked up.
Yeah. But played a bit of Minecraft on that. Haven't done much else besides that other than just install some like basic software and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so since it doesn't have a GPU, I'm probably not gonna use it to stream tomorrow. So the farewell Minecraft stream for my Alienware will be tomorrow night. Yesterday for those of you listening. So that'll be something.
Yep.
And then Lucas is coming over again on Wednesday to install a loaner GPU he's given to me.
I figured that was the least that I could do since it was my recommendation to like try and jump on the open box gamble because I had had
Mhm.
good luck with that in the past.
Yep.
So yeah, Neal's got my GTX 1080 Ti for their temporary GPU while we try and resolve that.
Yep. So
And while
That's a
we're
good
at it, we're gonna
GPU.
take the M.2
Oh.
or the extra M.2 drive from the Alienware laptop and put it in the
Mhm.
now.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. It's
fun
not even
building
a
new
week old
computers.
and we're upgrading it already.
Uh,
Feel like I'm probably getting to a point where I'm due for a new one. This
Oh,
thing's
yeah.
starting to chug a little bit.
uh-huh.
It's like, maybe it's time I just start over.
Start over from scratch. Yeah.
I mean, you've got what, a 5900X?
Yep.
That's still plenty of CPU, I think.
Yeah. But
But
this thing be
yeah.
chugging. I think it's more so I gotta start fresh on. I might get a new motherboard for it, and then
uh,
keep the GPU and CPU and everything, and just kind of build around that maybe,
maybe.
and brand new hard drives and stuff, and then just start completely fresh.
And
Yeah.
because you're still what on a PCI Express Gen 3 SSD,
It's the what is it? It's a ToughX 570 board.
and that's what I'm running.
Yeah,
That supports Gen 4.
yeah. I don't know. All I know is this thing doesn't run as well as it used to, and that's that.
You know what you need is a fresh install of not Windows. Switch to Linux, it is better.
I thought about.
Sure.
I'm starting to think about once I'm in my own place, I might get as much as it burns to say this, I might get like some form of Mac for specifically a recording and music production rig.
There's nothing wrong with
I'd
that. There's no need to be
yeah,
ashamed
I'd
of
recommend
that.
that. For creative stuff, Macs are super
Yeah,
nice.
I mean,
yeah.
even me just playing around with my iBook G4 and the MacBook that I'm incredibly disappointed in because it won't let me install any other operating system besides the one on the hard drive. I
Mac.
actually kind of like Mac OS.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I could get Logic Pro and
Yeah.
use that as my DAW
Yep.
Uh-huh.
and still
Logic Pro.
Logic Pro
suffer
and
from the
Pro
same
Tools.
and still suffer from the same exact writer's block that I always suffer from with even like a new DAW is not going to change that, but maybe it will. Maybe there'll just be something about it.
Yeah, who knows?
Logic Pro is super expensive, but it is a one-time purchase, which is super nice.
Yeah.
We were just talking about buying the Sun and all that, so
A one-time purchase of the Sun.
yeah.
YouTube would have a good digital audio workstation.
Yeah, considering so many things trend towards subscription models like Creative Cloud, it's
I
nice
was
that Apple's still doing that.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot more than that when you said expensive, but
An expensive one-time purchase is still
it's
better than a subscription.
I mean it's not expensive, but I was just expecting more than $200.
200. Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
You're like, this is expensive. I was like, oh, is it like a $450, $500 DAW? But 200's okay for what it is as a one-time purchase with everything it comes with as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe using an industry standard DAW will spur my creativity that using a non-industry standard DAW does not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of tempted to try out FL Studio too, just to see what that's all about.
Yeah.
This is a gaming podcast, but we're talking
I
about music production now. So
when I switched from iMovie to Premiere, I did have a lot of inspiration with all the new stuff I could do there.
Yeah.
But I don't know how different that is since Reaper has a ton of features.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Reaper is incredibly robust still for
Mm-hmm.
being technically free.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it's nothing
I
against
did-
Reaper, but
yeah.
also like this is sort of the industry standard right up
Yep.
there along with Pro Tools, which is
Yep.
also
Mhm.
I think Mac exclusive still, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Final Cut
But-
and Logic, yeah.
Something like that.
I want to say it was either 90125 Big Generator or maybe Union was like back in the 90s. Yes was like one of the earliest adopters of working in a digital audio workstation like that with Pro Tools.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's one of those three albums, and I know it was sort of at the insistence of, at the time, Yes guitarist Trevor Rabin, that they try and transition to working in Pro Tools instead of trying to record analog.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, did you know that Trevor Rabin did the soundtrack to National Treasure?
Huh.
Yeah.
Colin, what have you been playing?
I have been playing a new game from Obsidian called Avowed, a game that I've been waiting
Yes.
for like 5 years because I'm pretty sure it was revealed alongside the Xbox Series X. Been waiting that long for it, and it finally
Dang.
came out a couple weeks ago, so I've been playing a lot of that. I also rearranged my capture rig, so now I can have my TV be my monitor
Nice.
for that
There we go.
instead of my second monitor. So now I can set up and capture gameplay and still be able to sit comfortably like I'm playing any other game I'm not capturing. So I've been recording this entire playthrough of Avowed and putting the footage up on my YouTube channel as I
Nice.
go. So it's been good. I've been encountering more and more technical issues the further I've gotten into the game, unfortunately. Nothing that's like super game breaking, but like it's got, like Skyrim style conversations, like the camera zooms in on the person you're talking to and stuff, and you got your dialogue trees and all that. But for whatever reason, I hit a point about after the first major area in the game, I started getting these random issues in conversations where like the person I'm talking to's frame rate would just drop to like half for some reason.
Weird.
And what's really weird is when there are multiple people in the conversation and it's the camera's swapping between them, they aren't all affected evenly. It's always actually
Weird.
just like one specific character in a conversation, and it doesn't have any like specific reason for why that character in particular is, because that character will be completely fine the next time you talk to them and stuff. It's very random, but aside from that, it runs pretty good. I've had to put it on performance mode right away because it was a very kind of choppy 30 frames on graphics mode, which I don't mind 30 frames, but it's got to be like solid. And it wasn't, so I very quickly switched it to performance mode, and for the most part it runs at a pretty smooth 60, except in conversations when there's nothing going on that you would think would stress the system like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really fun. So gameplay is kind of like Skyrim. It's a fantasy setting, first person action RPG. And what's really cool about this is like the magic gameplay is actually really incredibly fun in Avowed, where in Elder Scrolls, I've never really fully enjoyed doing a full magic build. At most, I would use it in my offhand, have like a lightning spell or something in my offhand while I'm using a sword in the main hand and stuff. Because magic in Elder Scrolls, at least in Skyrim, I haven't played enough of Oblivion to really know, because I've never really cared for Oblivion. Unpopular take, I know. But trying to do full magic builds in Skyrim was just never really that fun. But it's incredibly fun in Avowed. You actually get a wand as a weapon. That's just a ranged weapon with like a magic projectile that it fires instead of like a bullet or an arrow. And then you get grimoires, which is just a book that has 4 spells in it. And then from that book, you can cast your 4 spells, and you can hold a book in one hand and the wand in the other hand. So you've got your wand for your regular attacks, you've got your book to cast spells. And then as you level up, you can invest points in spells to then unlock the ability to use them without having that grimoire equipped. But if you do have a matching grimoire equipped that has that spell, every point that you invest in that spell as you level up, having the grimoire with that spell equipped gives you 1 extra point automatically. So each spell can level up, I think, 3 times. So your first point unlocks the spell to use it regularly. And then the second point adds an additional thing. And then the third point adds an additional thing. Well, if you have a grimoire with the spell that you've invested 2 points into, you automatically have that third tier unlocked just by having the grimoire equipped. So it's really cool. Like if you find a grimoire that's got 4 spells that you really like, you don't have to fully invest in every single one of those spells to get the maximum benefits of them all, which is really cool. So I've been going around. I just kind of fell into like this really badass lightning sorcerer build. Like my wand has lightning elemental on it. My grimoire that I've got right now is just like 3 lightning element spells and then a blizzard storm spell. And then my secondary weapon is a pistol. And that's one thing that's also really fun about Avowed over Elder Scrolls is there's guns, but they're like classic like flintlocks and stuff. So you take a shot and then you have to like reload. There's a pretty brief reload period, longer for rifles, but there's pistols and rifles. And yeah, so my gun that I have in my secondary loadout, because you can have 2 loadouts so you can swap between by pressing the Y button. So my main loadout is the wand and grimoire, my secondary loadout is the pistol just by itself, so that way I can aim down sights, because the second you put something else in your other hand, that left trigger controls that. But if you don't have anything in your other hand, then left trigger aims down sights with guns and stuff. So, but I have a lightning elemented pistol in my secondary. So I'm like just this badass lightning mage with a sparky gun, and it's really fun. I have one spell that basically calls down a thunderstorm in this radius, and then I've upgraded it so that first time lightning strikes an enemy, it grounds them so they can't move for like 5 seconds. So it's really, really good for like if you see a group of enemies and you catch them unaware, you can drop that lightning storm on them, trap them all in place, and then just go ham on them, and they can't do anything because they're stuck in place for a few seconds. It's really, really fun. But yeah, I feel like I'm almost done with it now. I'm getting really, really close to the end of the game, and I have really enjoyed it. It's given me a lot of that first time playing Skyrim feeling, which I've kind of missed because we haven't gotten a game like Skyrim since Skyrim.
Yeah.
And Skyrim. And Skyrim.
Skyrim.
And Skyrim.
And
like unfortunately, it doesn't have as much depth as Skyrim does in its mechanics and stuff, and just overall things that you can do. Like the world's not as interactive as it is in Skyrim. You can't just go and like every little thing on a table mess with and rearrange and everything. You can't like blow it down with your Fusro Daw and stuff like that. Like there's very specific items that you can interact with, and they're all things that you're able to pick up, and that's it. I don't view that as a downside personally, because like that doesn't really affect my gameplay. It's just something cool that you can do in Skyrim, but there's no like the thing that I wish it had is like more factions and stuff. Like there's no faction quest lines like you would get in an Elder Scrolls game. Like you don't have your Thieves Guild or your Dark Brotherhood type quest lines or anything. It's all like you have your main quest line, and every area, because this isn't one map, it's so far it's been 4 large maps, like split into zones and stuff, but you don't have like different factions and stuff that you can do their quest lines and join with and stuff like that. It's very much you have your main quest line, and then each area has a bunch of side quests that you can do, and there's bounties, so you can hunt down these powerful monsters and enemies and stuff, and then get a bounty reward for them back at whatever hub town you're at in that particular area. But I mean, honestly, for me, that's all I need. I mean, it like I said, it's been so long since we've gotten any kind of Skyrim like experience that this is scratching that itch for me still so well, and I am really enjoying playing it. It's a fun game. I do hope they iron out the performance issues. I think there will probably be some DLC expansions coming down the pipeline from the sound of things, and we'll see when those come out. Go back to it and play some more. But I really like this game. It's fun. But anyway, let's get on to our main topic discussion. And another thing that I hope they bring to this game, mods. I don't know if people are modding this game yet, but this is the kind of game that you want to be able to mod.
This game needs moderation. Wait, what?
Mod it to fix the conversational frame rates.
Yep. Yeah, we're talking about game modifications.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we were talking about Skyrim. I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna bring up Skyrim too. I
all
think
the
that's the
games.
first
Skyrim
time I
king of
really.
game mods.
I think this is the first game that I really understood what mods were.
Yeah.
And Skyrim came out in high school, and started seeing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thomas the Tank Engine is the one that comes
Uh-huh.
mind initially for me.
It's everywhere.
Yeah,
It's everywhere. If your game releases on PC, someone puts Thomas the Tank Engine in it.
That's very true.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. As a Thomas fan.
I especially love it when they include the theme song.
Yeah.
And they mod it as an enemy of some kind that's supposed to be stalking you.
Yeah. Oh, another favorite of mine was the Macho Man Randy Savage death clause in Fallout 4.
Yes. Somebody modded in the Resident. I feel like somebody modded Thomas into Resident Evil 2 as Mr. X, but I could be misremembering. I just know I've seen it in one very a horror game where he's stalking you and all you hear in the background is ba 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 ba.
Incredible.
Oh, I think they did. Oh, yeah, they did. Yep. I was right. Somebody replaced Mr. X with Thomas.
Incredible.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Well, now I know what I'm going to do next time I play Resident Evil 2.
Yep.
I'm due for a replay of that. I want to play that game again soon. But I was going to play it on my PS4 because I found a PS4 copy of it.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah. See, I was introduced to the modding scene really through more of the classic game hacking scene with stuff from romhacking.net.
Yeah, I think I more would have been introduced to it by that too. It's just I didn't quite get what was going on because I was not into the technical sides of video games back then. I don't know.
I apparently was.
Well, yeah, that makes sense for you.
Somehow, yeah. Not that I was super technically versed back then as I am now, but
I more mean let's plays of ROM hacks, like the Kaizo comes to mind.
Yep, Kaizo Mario World, or as I was introduced to it, someone had it uploaded to their YouTube channel as Asshole Mario, which is incredibly appropriate considering what Kaizo Mario really is.
I mean, Kaizo translates to asshole, roughly.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, that same YouTube channel that had Kaizo Mario Let's Play uploaded as Asshole Mario was also my introduction to BlazBlue. Yeah, I subscribed to them after watching the Kaizo Mario stuff, and then just like out of the blue, it might have been Continuum Shift Extend, but like they uploaded online versus match stuff way later on. It's like, oh, Blaze Blue. And then, you know, hanging out with Max from Steak and Shake and saw that they had Blaze Blue stuff, and it's like, I know that, sort of. I've never played it though. What is it? And that's how I got addicted to that fighting game series.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Yeah, I've actually played around with doing my own modding in Skyrim back in the day.
Cool.
Back when, because that's one thing that's really cool about Bethesda is they are very supportive of their modding scenes to the
Yeah.
point where
Mhm.
they literally, when their games come out, they just hand the community their tools and say, "Here you go, have fun."
Yep.
Right.
So I downloaded the creation kit for Skyrim way back and made a few simple mods. Like I made a follower that was basically Arnold in his Conan the Barbarian getup,
Nice.
and I voiced him poorly, but I voiced him. It was fun though. Something I've always wanted to do more of.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sort of a long honored or time honored tradition of like releasing modding tools along with your game. Like I don't know about like Unreal Tournament 2003 and 2004, but I know that like Unreal Tournament or game or Unreal Tournament and Unreal Tournament Game of the Year edition, Epic went ahead and distributed Unreal Edit alongside those games so that you could make custom maps for that and stuff. I want to say id Software did with Quake as well. If they didn't distribute modding tools with that, they did eventually release Quake 1 as open source. So you could make source port modifications to Quake. They also did that with Doom. But you could, port it to whatever you want to run it on, really. Like microwave.
That's what happened.
Yep. So yeah, that's another fun part about modding is that like you can kind of tie the open source community into that as well, which I'm sure at episode 70 we are all very familiar that I am a Linux user generally and
Yeah.
very supportive of open source software.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, thanks to stuff like it open sourcing Doom after a couple of years of it being on the market and stuff, like kind of when it became, I would imagine, sort of like non-profitable for it necessarily. I don't know the exact time frame off the top of my head at least, but id Software did release the source code to Doom, and they released the source code to Quake. Um, so there's these things called source ports, which could argue tie into the modding scene as well, because not only does having access to the source code for the game allow you to port it to really whatever platform will support it, but that sort of direct access also gives you the ability to modify the game and add additional features. Probably best example off the top of my head right now for that would be there's a game called Hedon Bloodright that was part of or included as part of the Boomer Shooters bundle on Humble Bundle a couple of years back. But it is a like total conversion mod of Doom for the Z Doom source port engine that takes advantage specifically of Z Doom's additional features added to the game engine, such as like being able to aim up and down and jump within the game engine and such. And I guess since we're talking about total conversions of games, go play Chex Quest. It's fantastic. It's a official Chex themed total conversion of the Ultimate Doom. it's incredibly silly, but like go Zorch some Flemoids. It's a great time.
Another neat thing about mods is in the modern era, anyway, it allows the fans to fix the games that the devs won't fix themselves.
Indeed. Sonic Origins is the first one that comes to mind for me.
Yeah.
Really? Not Sonic 06?
That's not a mod, is it, though? I'm pretty sure that's written from scratch.
No. I mean, it's gotta use the source material somehow.
Oh, yeah. It's a remake. P06 is a remake.
Something like that.
Yeah. But Origins actually comes to mind because that was one that, like, the hardcore Sonic fans that are the kind of people that would do that definitely were disappointed with it. So there's lots of Origins fixes out there for all the random stuff that Sega wasn't, or I guess, I don't know who actually written that. Sega or whoever wasn't super keen on making sure it was exactly perfect.
Well, I hate to keep bringing Skyrim into this, but I mean,
Skyrim shuffle.
it's also kind of funny that there are obviously mods for Skyrim that fix issues with the game, but every time Bethesda releases a new version of Skyrim, those mods break because it's a new version.
Right.
But they still haven't fixed the issues themselves in the actual game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, hey, we made it look pretty, but that thing that broke that one quest still breaks that one quest.
Yeah.
Sorry. Not sorry.
Well, I guess since we're talking about Skyrim again, there's some really impressive mods for that game in particular, like the multiplayer mod.
Well, they've done some crazy things with that game. Like,
there's Skyrim multiplayer mod. There is a total conversion of Skyrim to be Morrowind. I think there's also an Oblivion port to Skyrim's engine in progress too.
Yeah, those have been in development since literally December of 2011.
Yeah.
Judas.
like whenever I hear people get excited for Skyblivion and stuff, it's like, yes, those sound awesome. They sounded awesome in 2011 too.
Yeah.
It's like I understand that making an entire game using another game is not an easy task, especially when it is done as a hobby.
Yep.
I'm not like knocking them or anything.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's like at this point it's like
sort of stuff.
Yeah. It's like at this point it's like I'll be excited for it when I can download it.
Yep. I do believe though that Morrowind for Skyrim is up to public beta at least.
Nice. That's something.
Yeah.
Morrowind.
Yes. Which I mean, is also super cool. I mean, I remember way back, I would have been high school time for me. Just seeing something as basic as the Super Mario Brothers 1 remake in Super Mario World's game engine on SMW Central was super cool to me still. Because, I mean, it's surprisingly non-trivial to remake Super Mario Brothers 1 in Super Mario World, because you do have to add in custom blocks to have Super Mario Brothers traditional breakable brick blocks instead of just the rotating blocks that Super Mario World had. And they even added custom flagpole sprites and objects for the ends of the levels so that you could go down the flagpole and stuff. Super Mario World's probably one of the games that I've played around most with for ROM hacking stuff. which, ROM hacking is essentially just modding, but for things that are closed source and don't have open available modding tools like PC games typically do. So yeah, a lot of playing around with lunar magic, setting or making custom levels and stuff. None of them were particularly good, I would say. I did play around with it somewhat, as well as like inserting assembly patches with Vaxcast and at least in my opinion, the kind of dreaded Mikey K's sprite tool, which I didn't like back in the day because it was command line only, but now I'm a Linux user, so command line tools are what I'm used to, so whatever. But yeah, it was really cool to insert like custom enemies, custom objects, custom blocks and stuff to, even a game like Super Mario World is super fun to tinker with. Uh, might actually have that on my old YouTube channel where I did a playthrough of Super Mario World with like an assembly patch that inserted sort of a Super Mario 64 styled long jump and turnaround jump. But because of how Super Mario World's game engine works, um, long jumping functions similarly to being shot out of those big diagonal pipes like a cannon. And
Huh.
if you didn't hold down any of the directions on the D-pad, you would maintain your speed constantly, and you could just keep jumping to maintain that speed.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you could long jump once and have this like shot out of a cannon speed and continue to maintain it just by doing additional jumps as you landed.
Oh.
Which is sort of how the task does its thing in Super Mario World because there's an oscillation cycle to Mario's running speed, so they jump at specific frame intervals in order to maintain that jumping speed. Yeah. Yeah, it's another fun thing about game modding. It's the task community. As weird as that sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, especially aforementioned the Kaizo Mario ROM hacks. It's like some of the first videos of that to complete Kaizo Mario were actually just tasks back
Mm-hmm.
then. Um,
Yeah.
but some of the techniques used in making tool assisted speedruns, namely like watching memory addresses and stuff, is very much still relevant to the ROM hacking scene because you can find those relevant memory addresses that you want to modify using an emulator's RAM watch functionality, then like you can insert your own assembly patches into that in order to modify the game more easily or for what you're trying to do. I guess kind of similarly to PC games too, because using software like Cheat Engine, you can track down specific memory addresses through pointers and stuff to find the memory address of what you're trying to modify for a mod, for example, and edit that to do what you want it to do. And apparently, historically, some N64 ROM hacks were actually released as a series of Game Shark cheat codes that you would input into like Project 64's cheat code system, and that would be the ROM hack, actually.
The ROM actually.
Yeah. So yeah, really, ROM hacks are just game mods with extra steps. Namely because they're not officially sanctioned, because they definitely didn't release hacking or modding tools for you to be able to do that officially. Like,
Right.
the Doom map editor or the Quake map editor or Unreal Edit and the like. Yeah.
Well, I will bring up game level designers that come with games. Like a lot of early Flash games did that. Obviously, being me, I'm going to bring up Super Mario 63, but that was something that later down the line, once people realized that, or once gaming companies realized that people liked doing this, started putting that just straight into a game, which isn't modding necessarily, but like kind of stuff you do with Lunar Magic ended up in Super Mario Maker.
Yeah.
Um, and there's something else that I was thinking of that was similar that I can't think of anymore.
Yep.
Oh, I was going to bring up Sonic Forces. As mid as that game is, the idea of putting your own character into a Sonic game via hacking it was something that was going on in Sonic Generations hacking, Sonic Adventure 2 hacking for years.
Yes.
And Sonic Forces was like, well, why don't we just make this part of the gameplay? You unlock more things to add to your character by playing the game.
Yeah. And I mean, historically, that can be traced all the way back to like Stealth's original Knuckles and Sonic the Hedgehog 1 ROM hack.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I was just going to go there as well. There's like Silver and Blaze are in Sonic in 1. People played with Cream the Rabbit in Sonic 1.
Yeah.
I mentioned that in the last episode. Sonic has a ton of friends, so they can all end up in Sonic 1.
Yep. Yeah, like there's been ports of Knuckles to Sonic 1, Tails to Sonic 1, Vector the Crocodile from Knuckles Chaotix to Sonic 1.
Yep.
Amy to Sonic 1, and this all also applies to Sonic 2, and I believe also Sonic 3.
Yeah, I think not as much for 3 and Knuckles, just because that game there's a lot more going on in it. But definitely 1 and 2.
Yeah. It's sort of one of those quintessential Sonic the Hedgehog ROM hacks of porting another character from a newer game back to Sonic 2 or Sonic 1. Yeah. Especially when they are still like on the Sega Genesis platform, like say Vector the Crocodile or Espio the Chameleon from
Right.
Knuckles
Chaotix.
Chaotix.
32X, yeah.
Yeah. Or say Sonic Megamix, which is like part of Team Megamix, which Stealth was also part of.
Yep.
That I believe that game added Shadow as well.
I am not super familiar with Megamix other than the creators, but
yeah.
I
mean, a lot of Team Megamix eventually went on to form Headcanon Studios, which does a lot of work with Sega for these more classic style Sonic games.
Yeah, like obviously nowadays Origins has like Knuckles and Amy and Tails backported to all the games.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was with help from Stealth and Headcanon.
Yeah.
And that of course is all based on, well, obviously it's similar to Mania, but Mania was a mostly new game.
Yeah.
Origins was based on
Sega based. Thanks for allowing mods.
Sonic Origins is based on the mobile ports of Sonic 1 and 2, which were made by Christian Whitehead with help from Stealth. And those ported Knuckles back to Sonic 1 as well as Tails. And that actually technically isn't a mod, but Christian Whitehead created a engine, the retro engine that could run that basically was a remake of the Sonic the Hedgehog engine for the Genesis, but it ran in widescreen and 60 frames per second and just looked really smooth. Unfortunately, because of Origin's shortcomings, the mobile ports of Sonic 1 and 2 are still the best ways to play those games if you want the best physics and most true gameplay and the best additions to the game. Um, those versions are still the best. Uh, there's all sorts of secrets in those. They added Hidden Palace Zone back to 2.
Yep.
Um, you can go in the debug mode and do wild stuff you can't do in the originals, such as in Sonic 1, you're able to change the shield monitors to elemental shields, which adds a whole nother level to Sonic 1, which I absolutely loved playing back in high school and college on my iOS devices. I highly recommend that if you can get your hands. I think they're still in the App Store, right? I hope. But I digress off of Sonic.
Yeah.
Um,
But also, like, look at where Christian Whitehead is now. They're like they
mhm,
have their own game studio with Evening Star, and they just
mhm.
released Penny's Big Breakaway in 2024.
Yeah, I still need to play that game. Yeah,
Yeah,
these mods lead into actual careers playing or making games, which
yeah,
is super sick.
yeah. So yeah, like y- definitely the takeaway from the modding scene is that like you shouldn't discount them as like kind of
Mhm,
springboarding themselves off of an already existing platform, but like this is a lot of people's introduction to game development really.
mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Like it starts with like playing around with ROM hacking tools, and then you start working with your own game engine stuff,
Mhm. Yeah, it's
Godot and
sort of like in TV shows where like someone works on one TV show and helps write, and then later down the line they have their own TV show that they create.
yeah, yeah,
But with
like
video game.
yeah. It really game modding is sort of a stepping stone into game development because
Mhm.
if you get a good grasp on what you're doing with game modding, then like there's really not a whole lot far removed from doing your own game development stuff at that point. Like whether it's, I mean, kind of on the extreme end, like writing your own custom game engine and building a game from scratch, or like using something like Unreal Engine or Godot or Unity to you know, kind of streamline the process a bit for you. But like those concepts that you learn while doing game modding stuff or ROM hacking stuff still apply down the road as you continue to progress with your own development skills.
Mhm.
Like that might be the reason why that like all of the assets that I contributed to my capstone project in college like were sort of the best looking art assets that we used, because everyone else was just like, here's a square. Meanwhile, I'm contributing like very sort of like Link to the Past inspired, like here's a nice sword, shield, here's a short sword, and here's an axe and stuff.
Right.
Because like I already had that sort of basic like 16-bit pixel art stylized experience from just playing around with that sort of stuff.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a funny juxtaposition because we had like the white square for the player character, and we had red squares that were the enemy characters, and then we just had like these fully drawn out Link to the Past sword and shield that they were holding on to. I don't know if anyone in my capstone group ever caught it, but like we were group number 8, so I actually like kind of drew a number 8 into the shield. But
Oh,
then like
nice.
I put like I think it was like a couple red pixels in the loops of the H to kind of make it look like gemstones and stuff. So I don't
Mhm.
know if anyone actually in group number 8 of my capstone project actually caught that the shield had the number 8 on it. If anyone from that capstone project happens to be listening to the podcast, you can hit me up at my old GVSU email. You might still have it. Yeah, the modeling community is fantastic, though. Really,
I guess being the Minecraft guy, I should probably bring up Minecraft mods too.
Yeah.
As much as I can, I am not a modded Minecraft person, so I can't talk too much about it, other than the fact that it's a crazy huge thing.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I
as
suppose
Minecraft has
sort of like
developed, they've go ahead.
I suppose kind of the sort of like official Microsoft DLC packs for Bedrock Edition kind of fall into this category too.
Yes, yep, definitely.
Like they are
Um,
DLC, but also like they are mods to the Minecraft
mhm.
engine in a sense.
And there are literally, people that made Java mods that just port them to Bedrock and sell them on the Minecraft marketplace,
Yeah.
which it is another bit of Java supremacy of like you can get these for free online
Yep.
here, or you can pay
Yeah.
your whatever the Minecraft currency was called.
Shout outs to Minecraft Ocarina of Time because that exists and it's actually really cool.
I imagine so. Obviously, there's tons of like weapons and stuff that they add. Minecraft has a million blocks, but the amount of blocks, if you install some of those like huge mod packs that have tons of extra stuff in them, it gets kind of absurd.
Yep.
There's obviously lots of crossovers with mods too. Like some
Yeah.
have this stuff,
Yeah.
and others have
Yeah.
similar stuff that works slightly differently.
Yep.
Um,
Again, shout outs to Minecraft Ocarina of Time.
Yeah,
Like
and
that's
Minecraft has kind of injected its own way of like modding Java Minecraft without having to just straight up do mods through like CurseForge or whatnot, using like data packs, and
yeah.
even more simply than that, just the command blocks allow you to do a lot of stuff that used to only be possible in mods 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely thanks to command blocks that a lot of like the crazy redstone engineering stuff exists too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which is cool that like command blocks also incorporates redstone engineering into it,
Yeah.
instead of just being straight up code. I have some level of understanding with command blocks that they are around in our Rome server. Um, you can do busted things with those things, which is
Yeah.
why it's an admin thing.
Yep. That like warp thing that you have that's command block stuff.
Wait, what thing?
But
You said that warped thing?
yeah, the like warp block thing.
Oh, the teleporter?
Yeah.
Yes, that is all command blocks. Command blocks basically just let you do command line stuff, but like it can be hooked up to Redstone. You can push a button and it'll do a bunch of command lines, prompts,
Okay.
and then you can like have stuff running. Um, there's ways to set up like as long as you have this command block machine running, like when a player dies, they drop their player head. Is a very common example of something people do just because that's on a PvP server is very
Yeah.
very fun thing to have of like I killed green or whatnot.
And now I have their head to display.
Yeah, exactly. I thought about adding that to our server, but it would mean that I'd have to do PvP, which I don't really want to do.
Yeah.
Because when you're trying to do co-op stuff and PvP is on, it's
Yeah.
frustrating.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not someone who's super into mods. I think the most I ever did with mods was way back in high school. Would have been like 2012, 2013. I saw on a mod showcase on YouTube this mod that created like didn't really create anything, but it took the like passive mobs and the hostile mobs, and they became aggressive towards each other.
Mm.
So you just run a world at night, and the zombies and skeletons would start fighting the pigs and the sheep.
Oh.
Um, and like this, I forget It's been years, but I forget exactly what it was. But each passive mob had its own way of attacking. It was quite a bit of fun.
Huh.
Which, I mean, I guess that is another thing we should talk about. Just in general of mods is just the fun joke mods that are out there.
Hmm.
Um, we were talking about Sonic XL, Sonic 2 XL last
Yeah.
night. um,
That's a silly thing.
in case you're not aware, Sonic 2 XL switches the rings in Sonic to onion rings, which Sonic eats every time he collects one, which unfortunately makes him fat very quickly.
Yep.
When he is fat, he cannot run at supersonic speeds. So you have to avoid the rings, which actually becomes quite a fun, Sonic 2 challenge of, can I beat Sonic 2 without touching rings? You can run off the weight, but obviously if you're in a spot where there's two ramps on either side, he's too fat to go up that. So you
Yep.
can just get soft locked because of that.
Yeah.
That's definitely on the more mechanically interesting side of joke mods. We brought up Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yep.
We were just looking at Chuckles before the stream or podcast record.
Oh, that was so cursed.
Someone modded it so that Sonic was always looking straight at the camera in Sonic 1 and laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
What was it? Chuckles the maniacally laughing hedgehog or something like that? Great.
That was so cursed.
It was really bad.
It was just a demo that lasted through Green Hill Zone, but it was they were staring into my soul the entire time.
Laughing at you too. And for some, I mean, I guess for a laugh, they also made it so that if you get hit, the knockback is just absurd.
Yes. You could definitely use that for speedrunning strats level of the
Yes.
absurd knockback.
Yeah.
And Sonic also, in addition to having some of probably the greatest character-based mods, also has some of the most cursed things.
Mm-hmm.
That does remind me, though. We also talked a bunch about Sonic Heroes last night at Magic, and Sonic Classic Heroes by Flamewing, which is a really cool ROM hack of one of the Genesis games that sort of incorporates the Sonic Heroes formula, but for the classic 2D games.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They also, I don't know if it was just for April Fool's sort of thing, but they had a Team Knuckles that was actually just 3 Knuckles for that.
Yeah, there was a joke just straight up in Sonic Mania where you could unlock a mode where you could play as Knuckles and Knuckles.
Nice. I don't know if Flamewing was ever part of Team Stealth or Project Megamix, but I would say there were definitely of that caliber.
Right.
Oh yeah, and I guess since I'm bringing up ROM hack, there's as far as game mods, I suppose you could count translation patches as part of that.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah. So stuff like
the free world.
Yeah. Aeon Genesis or Neo Demi Force that Aeon Genesis is probably my favorite translation team. It's they've done stuff translation patches for Rockman and Forte, and I think probably most noteworthy for the podcast is they did the English translation patch for Cave Story, or the classic PC version, the original PC release.
Right.
Yeah. They also, I believe, contributed, or at least Gideon Z, sort of the lead for Aeon Genesis, contributed to the Mother 3 translation project. As did Near, rest in peace. Yeah, they also translated the new mobile report, Gundam Wing Endless Duel, the SNES Gundam Wing fighting game. Yeah, they translated a lot of pretty, probably noteworthy stuff. Oh, they sounds weird because Mega Man 7 has an English localization, but they did a English translation patch for Rockman 7. Um, just to kind of make the Japanese script or like translate the game to be more accurate to the Japanese script instead of the English one, and then they added in stuff like the you would occasionally get like random cutscenes in Rockman 7 where Roll or Otto would kind of debrief Mega Man on what the new Robot Master weapon that they just got was from instead of just the Dr. Light description. So yeah, it's cool to see that sort of like lost in translation type stuff too. And of course also like probably the highest profile ROM hacking translation project in my lifetime was the Mother 3 translation done by Tomato and Jeff Mann and the various contributors like Near and Gideon Z from Aeon Genesis, and yeah.
Yeah, and that's a whole can of worms that we'll get into some other day, but yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating that's still up. Nintendo has not tried to take that down.
Yep. And I mean, Tomato, who is professionally a English language localizer for Funimation, like his living is basically translating Japanese anime into English anime for us Westerners to watch without subtitles. Has offered the Mother 3 English translation patch script to Nintendo for them to be able to officially localize the game. Like, we've done all the legwork for you. Here's the script that we have already translated, if you would like. And they have still passed on it.
Yeah. And interestingly, recently we've heard that Sakurai would totally be down, or not Sakurai, sorry. Shigesato Itoi would totally be down with that too. That it's something else going on at Nintendo of America that's preventing them from doing that.
Dang it, Nintendo of America.
Yeah, I imagine there's some sort of a legal thing that they can't talk about, but I don't know.
They could talk about it if
They figured that like if they can't do it, they might as well leave up Tomato's version, and his team.
Yeah, that is true. Like, not only has Tomato officially offered use of their officially translated script of Mother 3 to Nintendo, but Nintendo hasn't cease and desisted this from existing.
Which is not what Nintendo normally does with between like ASM. What is it? AM2SR.
Yeah, another Metroid 2 remake.
That.
Yeah, like it's sort of a weird anomaly that Mother 3 translation still is up. Meanwhile, like fan games like Metroid Prime 2
go down like flies.
and another Metroid 2 remake are yeah. But I guess also to be fair, like Nintendo sort of was working on their own Metroid 2 remake with Metroid
that one
Samus
makes sense to me,
Returns.
honestly.
Yeah. Because really, it was like within a month or so that AM2R was C&D that they announced Samus Returns.
Yeah. But like stuff like what was it called? Super Mario Crossover got C&D'd. Even though that's not a new thing that Nintendo's gonna really create.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they could, That would be awesome, Nintendo, actually.
Yeah.
But
And I mean, it's not unheard of for Nintendo to reach out to other companies to include in their games.
mhm,
Like Mega Man was in Super Mario Crossover, and Mega
mhm.
Man is in Super Smash Brothers. And we
Yeah.
have Simon Belmont in Super Smash Brothers, who was also in Super Mario Crossover.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see a Nintendo, like, if Smash is ultimately not going it's ultimately not going to be made anymore. um, that like they could do a platformer, even just a 2D platformer with
Yeah.
crossovers with other uh gaming franchises. I could see a Sonic getting into a Mario game that way.
Yeah. You know what I just remembered talking about Super Smash Brothers though, in terms of game modding, was um the mod for Super Smash Brothers Brawl called Project M.
Oh yes, yep,
It's an attempt to like backport Melee's gameplay mechanics to Super Smash Bros. Brawl, as well as the addition of a couple of removed characters from between Melee and Brawl, like Roy and Mewtwo and stuff.
right, yeah.
Yeah,
It did,
uh,
yeah,
I actually tried that out, and it was pretty cool. And it
yeah.
had
I
some,
played it as well.
yeah, it definitely had some silly stuff in it, like oh, what was the thing that they had that replaced the Smash Ball that basically gave you the ability to like unlimitedly cancel attacks? I forget what it is, but it led to some very silly results. Like you could perpetually like if you got Final Smash as Wario and that item, then you, you could like perpetually spam Wario's down A in air and just continue to rise up until as far as you wanted to.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was sort of like a hyper cancel type item, but it was super cool to play around with because you could do silly stuff like that. And I mean, being able to move cancel in fighting games is usually pretty huge.
Mm-hmm. And
Uh,
yeah.
Stuff
When
like
Sonic 4.
Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear have built-in mechanics with rapid cancel and Roman cancel around that too. So cool to see in a mod that introduced that to Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, and in a world where Smash 4 was the most recent Smash game, Other M was very much like the Smash Bros. Ultimate, that like it had way more characters than were in um, Smash Bros. Brawl because of the ones that were cut, and they were
Yep.
introducing other characters, I believe, that weren't in any of the Smash games. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And
I
there were
wish
even like
I
Smash
wish
players
they
that did tournaments and such that would prefer Other M over definitely Brawl and sometimes even Melee.
yeah, like they held definitely held Project M side events at like major fighting game tournaments like Evo.
Hmm. Yep.
Mostly because it wasn't a official game, so Evo and Smash
Yeah.
couldn't officially sanction it, but
Right.
there was still
Definitely
some
went
like
down.
high profile players that were playing these Project M side events.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, that's also kind of impressive too because you didn't even have to mod your Wii in order to play Project M. Like you just had to have the whatever file format the Super Smash Brothers Brawl stage files were saved as. The
Mhm.
Project M that on an SD card, you plug it into your Wii, and then you go to launch the stage editor, and it would load in the mod and reboot the game to play Project M right there.
Right.
Sort of like it's probably like the first console soft mod that I ever played around with.
Anyway, moving along to our next segment, our weekly link to the past, releasing today on the date of recording, which is March 2nd of 2025, but 21 years ago in 2004, Ninja Gaiden for the Xbox. That game came out then. It's a good game.
I'm sure it is.
It
As
is
a
a very good
Metroid
game.
fan, though, I hold a grudge against Team Ninja.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Well, Ninja
Yeah.
Gaiden's a good game.
It is, I'm sure.
I started playing it again recently. I bought Ninja Gaiden Black on Xbox because it was like $5. So I started playing that again. I'm on like the 4th level.
Which Xbox did you buy that on?
The one that I own and can make purchases on.
The Xbox One?
Anyway,
You can
I
play
mean-
as Ryu in Super Mario Crossover. Did you know?
anyway, this is also kind of topical because they recently announced Ninja Gaiden 4 is
Yeah.
a thing
Oh, yeah.
that exists and it comes out this year. So that's cool.
You can also play as Ryu in whatever Dead or Alive version there was on the 3DS that also had Samus in it.
Nice.
Ayo.
Like, of course they'd want to put Samus in a Dead or Alive game. A
Of
series infamous for its fan service.
Of course.
Yeah.
But
yeah, hopefully Ninja Gaiden 4 has better writers than the ones that Team Ninja used for Other M.
Mm-hmm.
we shall see. Anyway,
Yeah.
happy birthday, Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
It can drink now.
That Team Ninja is kind of more known for their gameplay, I think, than their story writing.
And the gameplay is good.
Yeah.
Hard.
And that's what I say
it's
about Other M usually too, is that the gameplay was good, but they can't write a story to save their lives, can they?
Mm-hmm.
like this game was notorious when it came out for being too hard to some.
Yeah.
And
I'll just get good.
Or a Game Genie.
it is more difficult than other action games of its period, but I don't think it's insurmountable. And it's definitely not Souls-like difficulty. Like, this is the type of difficulty in action games that I find okay, because it's not like, I don't know where I'm going with this. It's not Souls-like difficulty, so it's not bad.
It's Nintendo hard.
Yeah. Okay. Something like that.
Is
I don't
Crash
know.
Bandicoot a Souls game?
Yeah, like
Okay.
at least the TV tropes term for it would be Nintendo hard, probably, where it's just like it's a difficult game, but it's it's beatable if you build up your skill level enough, as opposed to a Souls-like, which is just like difficult for no reason other than being difficult, it seems.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, happy birthday, Ninja Gaiden. Let's
Yep.
move on to the end of episode 70. Lucas, where can you be found outside the podcast?
Well, I've got a handy little link tree at linktr.ee/karn_evil_999. I've got links to my YouTube channel that I run for the podcast. It's Karn Evil 9, that one gaming podcast. I post long plays of the games that we talk about during our That One Game series of episodes. Of course, links to our podcast so that you can catch up on all of those to see what games we've talked about already. And a link to join our podcast Discord where you can actually talk to us in real time about that sort of stuff. And then, links to some social stuff like my Blue Sky and my Steam account. So you can hit me up on there if you really want to. But, yeah. It's linktr.ee/karn_evil_999.
And where can Neal be found?
I can also be found in the trees. linktr.ee/fumk9. I've got links to my Twitch channel and my YouTube channel and all my Discord stuff. All my podcast stuff. But then, Colin, where can you be found? Perhaps in the trees?
I also dwell in the trees. linktr.ee/delicious morsels. That's where my links are. you go there, you get my links. I'll let you go there and find my links. Anyway,
Indeed.
as always, if you liked what you heard here today, please be sure to hit the subscribe button where that's an option. Leave us a nice review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify because I hear they like that stuff. Hit the like button if that's a thing, and feel free to share this episode with a friend. We are going to return in a couple weeks with another episode, but until then, have a wonderful rest of your day, and remember,
Wait for the cows.
Insert a model replacement for the Bears.
chimichangas. We've also got Neal here, better known as VMK89. How's Neal today? Well, we had Neal here, but now he's gone.
Yep.
Wait, did he ever come back from Washington? Did he ever come back?
Are you sleeping?
I thought I could have swore where'd he go?
Hello?
Is he back now?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Hey, there you are.
I don't.
I guess we'll try that again.
I was talking this whole time. None of you heard me?
I don't believe
it was
you.
lighting up green. I'm going to blame Adobe on that one.
Adobe.
First, it steals your money with its stupid monthly subscriptions. Now it steals your microphone access. What are you going to take next, Adobe?
Yeah.
The world.
You're just going to have to follow Knox's guide to switch to everything open source now, I guess. Start learning
Adobe
DaVinci
wants
Resolve.
to buy the sun.
I wouldn't put it past them, to be totally honest.
Yeah, really.
Adobe bought a train. They're going to drive a train on you.
Adobe wants to buy the sun. Adobe wants to AI generate the sun. Okay, anyway. Guess we'll
Are you
start over.
subscribed to Creative Cloud yet, Damien?
You can pay them a monthly fee and they'll steal your artwork anyway. Okay. I guess we'll start over.
Sure.
Okay. Take 2.